All right, positive energy, everybody. Hope y'all doing great. I am broadcasting from Scottsdale, Arizona. Good to see you, Brother Hawkeye. Salute, Quayle. Onyx, what's going on? Just over here for a short notification to inform you all about what's going on with this tuberculosis outbreak in Kansas. As I said, I'm here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I was able to check out a nice vegan restaurant if you get a chance. When you're in Tempe or Scottsdale or Phoenix, go check out Early Bird Vegan. Yeah, so much respect to the young lady over there at Early Bird Vegan. If you're in Phoenix, Scottsdale, or Tempe, Arizona, go check her out. Get some delicious food. Good to see you, more power. Good to see you, Jazz. Oh, I give it a 10 out of 10. Quite, I give it a 10 out of 10. You know, I don't want to underrate the sister and downplay her business. So make sure y'all like, subscribe, share, support the channel. So we have a serious situation going on. In Kansas, where we have an outbreak of tuberculosis. And I'll be honest, we don't want to cause any panic or anything like that. People are easily become panicked because of the situation with COVID, so we don't want to fan no flames for no panic. But I will say that you still should wash your hands regularly. And if you're going to be around a big crowd, my advice is not the advice of the CDC or any government or any medical professionals, but my advice would be to wear a mask. Now, I'll tell you something very interesting. When I was about to come to Arizona a couple of weeks ago, something told me to put a mask on. I don't know why. There was not necessarily anything going on that I knew about. I think there was a couple reports of some people with some flu in different states or something like that, but there was nothing serious. But for some reason, my instincts told me, wear your mask on the flight. So I took a mask with me. I took a couple masks with me. I got on the flight and I put my mask on, and I was the only one on the flight with a mask on. A couple of people were coughing on the plane here and there, cough here, cough there, but I find it interesting that my instincts were so heightened, and I always follow my intuition. So anytime I get an intuition, I always follow it. I don't second guess my intuitions. Good to see you, Arnell. Looking lovely, I'm sure, today. So I always follow my intuition. So I wore the mask. And I've been here now, it's probably maybe, I don't know, I'm not keeping up with how many days, but maybe a week or two in, and the other day, boom, I hear there's a tuberculosis outbreak in Kansas. And they're saying it's the largest in U.S. history. Now, I remember I was a child, we used to get these shots. Everybody used to get vaccinated, and they used to leave like a circle on your arm. And that's because, there was polio and all that stuff in my parents' generation. They had that bad polio outbreak and some other things. Whooping cough was bad and a couple of things. So they used to vaccinate all of us when we was children. I don't think people get that big round circle on their arm anymore, but I heard them talking about the tuberculosis outbreak, and they said it leaves a circular spot on your arm. I was like, that probably was in the shots when we got vaccinated, because TB was a problem. And so when we was born, they used to vaccinate us for past pandemics and outbreaks they had before we were born. I remember being a little boy getting a whooping cough. And I was young. I might have been 6, maybe 7, maybe 5, maybe, I don't know. I don't remember, but I remember that whooping cough. And I tell you, it feels like it could kill you because you're just constantly coughing without a break until your throat is so sore, all of this is very sore, and every cough becomes worse and worse and worse. It's like an uncontrollable cough. And I think I was so bad, I remember that my doctor made a house visit. We used to always go see him. His office was over on 63rd Street, just east of O Block, actually, when I think about it, because it was under those L tracks. And he had to make a house visit. And I always remember my doctor being under those L tracks because my mother's beauty shop was also on 63rd. And when I was a little boy, like 4, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old, every time my mother turned on those L tracks, my eyes would get watery because I hated shots. I was terrified. I hated going to the doctor to get shots. And when she would turn to go to the doctor, my eyes would get teary. I knew where we were going. And sometimes she would turn under those L tracks and my eyes get teary. I start looking sad. She say, "Stop, boy. I ain't going to the doctor. I'm going to the beauty shop." One time, and I'll talk about that over on Pharaoh Said That. One time we went, and that's when the riots from the Martin Luther King murder happened. And I remember seeing all that damage. But my doctor's office over there, but I was in such bad shape with that whooping cough that the doctor had to come to the house to see me. Whatever they did, they went away. It was a black doctor. His name was Dr. Runner. He was a great doctor. We were really fortunate as Black people living under Jim Crow and still a lot of segregation and a lot of racism. We were really lucky to have Black doctors. And so with this tuberculosis outbreak, I would say not to panic. But I'm a firm believer in being more safe than sorry. I would rather look like I'm overdoing it and be all right than to, try to play it cool and actually get the tuberculosis. So I would advise you to wear a mask. As you say here, masks act as a physical barrier to protect you and others from viral and bacterial particles. It cuts down the breathing that sends the virus up to 6 feet away in a room, reduces transmission of the virus from getting into your nose and mouth. Now, when COVID happened, people were saying mask ain't no good and mask is no good. They didn't know what they were talking about, because why do you cover your mouth when you cough or sneeze? Why do you do this when you sneeze or you cough? This is a mask. You do that so that won't spray 6 feet, because that could travel 6 feet, the length of my body. That's how far a germ can travel when you sneeze or when you cough. And so to say not to wear a mask is ridiculous. Doctors have been wearing masks in operating rooms for how long? And you never heard of any doctors having problems wearing a surgical mask or a mask in a hospital. But all of a sudden with COVID, these conspiracy lunatics started telling you that a mask was all this horrible situation. Now, it might be some complications like during COVID where you got to wear a mask all day at work. That might be a problem, because a doctor's not wearing no mask constantly for no 8-hour shift. So that, yeah. But as far as you getting on a plane for a 3-hour flight or 5-hour flight, just one day, and you're not doing it every day, or you're going into a big store, right? Or something like that, just to protect yourself, I would advise to put on a mask, because right now they're saying it's in Kansas, but they're also saying there's 2 types of TB they got. Some show up and one version doesn't. Okay? Let's look at the news story. Kansas faces one of the largest tuberculosis outbreaks in U.S. history. Kansas is facing one of the largest recorded tuberculosis outbreaks in U.S. history, according to local health officials and the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. As of January 24th, there have been 67 confirmed cases of active TB, including 60 in Wyandotte County and 7 in Johnson County, according to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. Additionally, there are 79 confirmed latent TB cases, including 77 in Wyandotte County and 2 in Johnson County. Wyandotte County contains part of Kansas City, and Johnson County is just southwest of Kansas City. Cases linked to the outbreak was first reported in January 2024, according to the KDHE. So far, there have been 2 deaths related to the outbreak, both of which occurred last year. In a statement to ABC News, a CDC spokesperson said the outbreak is among the largest in U.S. history, but not the largest. The outbreak in 2015 in a homeless shelter and 2021 related to contaminated bone graft surgery were larger, according to the CDC, which has dispatched a team to help with the ongoing outbreak. Health officials in Kansas say the risk to people living in surrounding counties and the general public is very low, and that the department is following guidance from the CDC. TB is a disease caused by a type of bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, according to the CDC. It is one of the world's leading infectious disease killers, the Federal Health Agency says. TB is spread in the air from one person to another. When a person with TB coughs, speaks, or signs, or sings, germs are expelled into the air, where they can linger for several hours. That's a long time. Before another person breathes in the air and becomes infected. Signs and symptoms include a cough that lasts for 3 weeks or longer, coughing up blood and phlegm, chest pain, weakness, fatigue, weight loss, loss of appetite, fever, chills, and night sweats, according to the CDC. Some people become infected with TB germs that live in the body for years without causing illness. This is known as inactive TB or latent TB. People with inactive TB do not feel ill, do not have symptoms, and cannot spread germs to other people, the CDC says. However, without receiving treatment, people with inactive TB can develop active TB. Last year, the U.S. saw more than 8,700 cases of TB, according to CDC data. Although TB cases have been steadily declining since the mid-1990s, rates increased in 2021, 2022, and 2023, with 2023 matching pre-pandemic levels. There are several treatment regimens or regimens for TB disease that may last anywhere from 4 months to 9 months, depending on the course of treatment. Healthcare providers may consider specific regimens for patients with coexisting medical conditions such as diabetes or HIV. A vaccine known as Bacillus calmette-guerin, BCG, is commonly given to children in countries where TB is common. Although it is generally not recommended in the U.S. due to the low risk of infection with bacteria, variable vaccine effectiveness among adults, and the vaccine potential interferes with TB tests, the CDC notes BCG vaccine often leaves a scar where the recipient was given the shot. Right? So, that's pretty serious. You know what I'm saying? That's pretty serious. Now, I'll tell you something that's very interesting, and this is why I be getting in trouble. It's mighty coincidental that tuberculosis is a problem in Venezuela. Tuberculosis is a disease that has been making a comeback in Venezuela, especially during the country's economic crisis. The disease is affecting a wider population, including the middle class. And this is something that I've been saying for a while, that you cannot let people just run across the border. But you have people don't understand that people have different type of contagious diseases in different countries. And also, these diseases could just mutate slightly in another country. And then they come here and your body has no resistance to it. And this is why you have to go through the border. When you go through the border needs to be more professional. You should have to get a medical checkup, a thorough medical checkup, to be able to just travel around. I know people don't want to do it. They want to jump on planes and jet set. But eventually on this planet, we're going to have to realize you're going to have to get a thorough medical examination to travel. And you're going to have to be thoroughly searched for invasive species. Because if you go across the country with a bug from over here that's killing your fruit, and it's in your luggage or somewhere, and it gets here, it could destroy crops. So recently we've been having a lot of invasive species, and I predict we will have a lot of invasive infections and viruses that are brought over from just allowing people to just run across the border. They have virus outbreaks in Haiti that they don't have here. They have virus outbreaks in South and Central America that they don't have here. So protect yourself. You know what to do. When you're going in a big crowd, you might want to wear a mask. Now, if you live in your city and you're just around everybody in your city, I think you should be kind of all right. But like flights where they're going interstate, you might want to, just protect yourself. That's my advice to you all. So you all make sure you share this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you let everybody know to kind of protect themselves. And don't panic or anything, but just, protect yourselves. And take it serious. Don't take it lightly. Take it very, very, very serious. All right? Victory and vegan.